Welcome to the milk bar. 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 Welcome to the milk bar.
Welcome along to episode 522 of the Milk Bar. Jason Forrest here with you as ever, and coming up on the show, we'll be hearing from clairvoyant Helen Millward all about her work, chatting with some of the cast and director of the fantastic film Sustain, which is due out very soon. Aeron James let us know about West End Picnic and how you can keep track of what's going on in the wonderful world of theatre through his Instagram, Facebook page and everything else too. We'll be having an natter with WYMT's Ben Cole about their forthcoming show for kids this summer, and we'll have music from ChriSophie. We'll have a few samples of their work and a chat with them all about what they do when they go out and about on the road. But first of all, the Bodyguard is at Wolverhampton's Grand Theatre for 2 weeks from the 25th of June right the way through until the 6th of July. During that time, two fantastic artists will be sharing the role of Rachel Moran, one of whom is Jennlee Shallow, who joins me on the line now. Hello.
Hi.
How are we doing?
Thanks for having me.
Oh, good to talk to you. Tell us a bit about the journey that brings you to the role of Rachel.
So I'll be alternating the role of Rachel Moran with the Bodyguard tour, and I'm super excited about coming to Wolverhampton. It'd be my first time.
So where in the world did you start out? Because are you actually from the Caribbean?
Yes, I'm originally from Trinidad, but grew up in St. Vincent, lived in Australia, lived in England for a little bit a few years ago, and I'm currently living in Manhattan.
So you've travelled the world, and you've done that doing shows all around the world as well, because you've worked on The Lion King in the past.
Yeah, my home is pretty much my suitcase. I live out of my suitcase, and I just pretty much go where the work is. And yeah, here I am on a UK tour of The Bodyguard.
That's all good. And you must be really pleased with being part of a show with such iconic tunes in it.
I'm super excited. I mean, Whitney Houston is definitely, as a kid growing up on the islands, she was definitely an idol. And I've always dreamt of maybe one day being like a backup singer or something. And who would have thought that I would actually be in a show portraying her life and her music. I mean, if someone had told me that as a little girl, I would probably laugh like I'm doing now, because I still can't believe that I'm a part of it.
An excited giggle, but this is born out of how blooming good a performer you are, though, isn't it? Come on.
Well, I love what I do, and I'm super grateful to be doing what I do and to be able to travel the world and to experience different cultures and to meet amazing people. I'm really, really, really excited and grateful to be here, and especially to be a part of something this big.
And what's the biggest challenge you think you've had when going into a show?
The biggest challenge is remembering my lines.
When you've done stuff in the past, with things like with The Lion King, did you do a German language version of that as well?
Yeah. When I first started off doing The Lion King, it was in German. We had to learn the entire show in German, and it was my first time. So there was already, a lot of pressure on me, because it was my first time coming into a production, doing a show. I've never worked professionally in that sense. I was a student in college studying sociology and business management.
But not German.
Not German. So this was back in Trinidad. And my teacher at the time, who taught accounting in college, she decided to throw like choir classes outside of school, so anybody who was interested could come along. And of course I was there, and she heard me sing for the first time, and she said to me, "Hey, you remind me of Heather Headley." And I had no idea who Heather Headley was. And she was like, "Guess what? Lion King is coming to Trinidad for the first time to hold auditions. Would you be interested if I took you?" And I was like, "What is an audition? I don't know what that is." And she said to me, "Don't worry about it. All you have to do is sing. Just sing in front of these people. That's all you have to do." And I was like, "Okay, great." And I got there to the auditions, and it was like all these people outside, with sheet music and stuff. And I was like, "What is that?" I had no idea what it was. And then I remembered when it was my turn to go into the room, the producer said to me, "Hey, what are you going to sing for us today?" And I said, "I don't know." And they looked at each other like, "What?" And they said, "Okay, do you know Amazing Grace?" And I was like, "Of course, yes, I know Amazing Grace. I went to Sunday school every Sunday, grew up in a Christian home, of course." And so that was the song that I sang, and that got me into the show. And they said to me, "Hey, would you drop out of college to be a part of this production?" I was like, "Yes, absolutely. Yes, sign me up today, right now." And within a week's time, I was on a plane to Germany, Hamburg. And we had to learn the entire show in German. So I was there for 8 months with that production until they offered me Nala on the new production of The Lion King in Australia. And I remembered even going to Australia and learning the show in English for the first time was very difficult because all the German words were stuck in my brain. Is that crazy?
That must be mad. But at least this show, it's all in English from the outset.
Thank God.
But there are some amazing notes you've got to hit, and if anybody can, I think it's you, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's definitely this show is definitely one of my greatest challenges for sure. I mean, it's Whitney Houston we're talking about. This is a voice that is untouchable, was untouchable back then, still is today, and it's a huge. I mean, it's a blessing in disguise, and at the same time, it's like, oh my God, yeah, I really have to make her proud. But at the same time, I'm really, really grateful to be a part of this.
So we're playing Rachel Marron. You're being protected by a former Secret Service agent turned bodyguard, and the unknown stalker is following you around on the stage. Hopefully that's not something you can draw from your own experiences on.
Oh my God. Well, luckily I don't have that situation in my life, but that's where the acting chops come in, where I have to dig into, to that. But it to be honest, the cast in particular, I mean, they're all amazing, amazing actors, and it's such, an exciting time for me to be able to be a part of this because, for me, I learn daily every time I'm on stage with them. I'm so in tune with what they're doing, and I feel like to become better at what you do is to always remain open to learning. You can never stop learning, and I think that's one of the awesomeness about being a part of this show and being surrounded by all these incredible artists. It really is training grounds for me. Coming from my background, it's really an amazing opportunity to be a part of it.
And it is a big role, and I think that's, again, why it's probably quite important, due to the pressures of the amount of singing in this role, that you are sharing it with someone like Alexandra, because you actually get a bit of a rest during the weeks that you're on and off.
Exactly. And Alexandra is a beast in the best way possible. She's such a hard worker, and it's because this is a massive role, and she does it nightly and still has the same stamina, the energy, and it's definitely very, very inspiring.
But it does have the advantage that both of you are able to go and see the show, because you'll have seen her, and I'm sure she's seen you on the tour so far. So that must, again, be an amazing experience to see how the different interactions take place with the rest of the cast when each of you are playing the role.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, it's teamwork, because we all work together, to carry out the story of Whitney Houston's life and her music. And, it's all about working together. And we've definitely found that, as a cast, we have that. And as a family, I think we've become a family as well. And which normally doesn't happen with every show or all other shows that I've done. And it really, again, is a blessing to have that within this company.
But you do see your former Secret Service agent, Frank Farmer, falling in love with somebody else when you see the show. How do you feel when Alexandra's cheating with your man?
That's okay. I mean, it's it's nice to share the love every now and then. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
So the show itself, as you say, amazing songs in there. Is it possible to have a favourite, or do you just love them all?
Oh my God, that's the thing. It's very hard to have a favorite. They were all hits back in the day, and they still are. And it's very hard to have a favorite. But I know that the one song that everybody's coming to hear is obviously "I Will Always Love You," because that will definitely remain in a special place in our hearts. So yeah, that's a special one.
Yeah, there isn't a Whitney song which doesn't stand out as an amazing piece of music. And as we already said, you've got to do justice to the legacy that she left behind. And we know you're going to do that, and it's going to be truly awesome on stage. Anything else that you would add about this show that that surprised you when you were first part of it?
I mean, it's challenged me in so many ways, and it's stretching me in ways that I didn't think was possible. And I'm super excited about, again, having this opportunity to do so, because I know for a fact once I leave this show, I feel that I would have the confidence to do anything I put my mind to.
Well, I'm sure you've got the talent to do anything you put your mind to already, so there's going to be no question there. It runs from the 25th of June through to the 6th of July at Wolverhampton's Grand Theatre. grandtheatre.co.uk to get your tickets, or call the box office on 01902 429212. But for now, Jennlee Shallow, break a leg, have a great time in the show, and we look forward to seeing you on stage in Wolverhampton.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
In a moment's time, we'll actually have a chat with ChriSophie, but before we do, let's take a little sample of some of their singing.
Like a fool, I went and stayed too long. Now I'm wondering if your love's so strong. Ooh, babe, here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Here I am, baby, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Oh, here I am, baby, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. I did a lot of foolish things that I really didn't mean. Oh, yeah, didn't I? Oh, babe.
ChriSophie are busy at working hard. It is almost wedding season and many an event on the way. They are available to hire. They're here to tell me more about what's going on. Hello to you both.
Hiya.
Hello.
Right, so let's start with Sophie first of all, because you're head of keys in the outfit, and
Yes.
obviously working really hard when it comes to events.
Yeah, really hard. I have to sing and play.
Is it
It's hard.
multitasking.
Yeah, it's.
And Chris just gets to sit there and play guitar.
Yeah, he's got the easy bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, remembering all the words, and but no, it's good. It's great fun.
Because I mean, obviously, when it comes down to a wedding or a special event, live music really can absolutely make it, and this is where you guys come in.
Yeah, definitely. We just feel like it's a good combination of, it's a nice little setup, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the guitar and the keyboard complements each other well. Plus, with all the backing that Sophie can produce on the keyboard, it kind of, creates a full band.
Yeah, you've
kind
got
of
the whole
sound.
orchestra in one box, and then you playing along to really heighten the sound of the music.
Yeah, kind of. I think it allows us to kind of, be diverse with our song selections as well. We can do more mellow kind of songs, but also, upbeat songs as well if we want to.
Yeah, so whatever the party requires, whatever that first dance is, you can do it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the way it works. So, I mean, how long have you been playing together now? It must be a good few years.
I think it's about 2 years.
Yeah, it's about 2. Yeah, so
2 years,
and that has really helped you settle down, and you know each other fairly well anyway, because you are a couple.
Yeah.
So that helps. But it does mean that when it comes to playing the music, you actually can just feed off each other.
Yeah, definitely. I think like creating that bond musically, and just what we work out what songs kind of suit best, and try different things and styles and everything.
Yeah, because you kind of got a catalogue that you can call upon,
Yeah.
but equally, I know with both your musical backgrounds, if somebody has a track they want to play, you'll be able to sort it out and arrange it for them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we can just pick it up and learn it. Yeah, and just.
Who's the fastest on that one? Yours or Chris?
I'd probably say Sophie.
Yeah.
she can work stuff out on the keyboard, in a matter of minutes. So, yeah.
And before you know, you got the guitar tab set up ready
That's
for you to
it,
go,
yeah.
and away you go.
Yeah.
And what is probably your favourite moment at an event?
I don't know. What would you say?
I'll probably say toward the end of our second set is when, especially when we're playing some local places like pubs and stuff, they tend to get a bit more lively and get up and have a dance.
Yeah.
And towards the end of our second set is when it gets lively.
A
'cause
bit more lively. Yeah.
So that's kind of, the high point for me when cause seeing people enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
And just kind of get that buzz feeling that, we're playing and people are having a good time.
Yeah, make it a party, full on, all the
Yeah,
music,
yeah.
right the way through. And how long are your sets normally?
We normally do 2 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, like a huge variety of songs with a break in between. Yeah.
So you've got more than enough there to be able to fulfil people's desires. As you say, you can do specific tracks if requested as well. So how do people get in touch with you and book?
They can go on to like social media, Facebook. It's ChriSophie, just all one word.
It's facebook.com/ChriSophie duo.
Yeah.
And also for Instagram it's the same. And we've also got business cards as well.
Yeah.
But you
So
can
if
check.
people see you out and about, they can
Yeah,
grab one of those.
I've got email ChriSophieduo@hotmail.com. But yeah, it's mainly social media and just spreading stuff out there.
We generally keep up to date, our social media up to date with our latest gigs, so people
Events
can.
going on.
Because I mean, there's often public events as well as the private parties, aren't there?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we just post them out there so people know where we are and what we're doing.
Yep.
do that, have a good time, check it all out. ChriSophie is what you're looking for, and see these two guys in action, and they will come and perform at an event for you. Obviously you've got to pay them, but they will come and perform at an event for you. It'll be jolly good fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we look forward to it.
Thank you.
So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. You're way too beautiful, girl. That's why it will never work. You'll have me suicidal, suicidal when you say it's over. Damn all these beautiful.
There we go, that's ChriSophie, and a fantastic cover. We will have more from them as we head through the show.
With the release date for Sustain getting ever closer, it's time to find out more about the movie. I'm joined now by three of the team behind it. We have Greg Yates, we have Brett Dewsbury, and Troy Dennison. Hello.
Hello.
All right, I'm going to start this then, Troy. Remind us on your role in this.
I am producer, general dog's body, and a million other things.
So, kept busy the whole time.
Always.
Yeah. Brett?
Yeah, I play Kieran Flank, and I co-wrote the film with Dave.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm D.I. Bridge, the detective.
So you like detective roles, don't you? Whenever I seem to talk to you, Greg, you're a detective.
Yeah, but without the hat this time. So actually, there is a hat.
No, there is a hat, Greg.
But
Yeah.
not a trilby.
Okay, so that's all good. But obviously Dave Hastings as well, a major part of the team, as is everybody who's involved in this, because there's been directors of photography who've worked really hard on this, and loads of sites across the Midlands that have really put this film together.
Absolutely. We had something like 72 people who were involved in the actual production. We've hit locations across the West Midlands, from Wolverhampton, where we are now. We've been here a few times, actually. Warsaw, lots of places. It's been great.
It must be about, is it 2 or 3 years ago I spent a day on the set over at Walsall College with you, and then you were filming in a garage.
Two, yeah.
And I mean, that in itself is an amazing venue, and I think this shows the level of detail that's gone into this film.
Very much so. We've had some stunning locations. The garage was a particularly good one, wasn't it, Brett?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you get up to in there?
Well, I can't say too much without giving away too many spoilers. So, a lot of stuff goes down in that garage, actually. And the climax of the film, well, towards the end of the film, and it's one to watch out for, that scene. A couple of those scenes in particular in that garage. Yeah, a lot of stuff goes down.
Mm-hmm. And from an investigative point of view, obviously you're appearing throughout, I'm going to take it?
Yeah, that's right. The eventual culprits, I think I've got a pretty good idea who they are throughout the film, but pretty difficult to prove. I think you find in real life, if you don't find the evidence, you don't catch somebody actually in the act of the deed. You have to find lots of evidence to support your own thoughts and convictions, and in the end we get there, but I'm not going to give too much away about how we get there.
But is this a film where we see the actual events happen and then our investigator has to work it out, or is it something where there's a mystery for the audience too from the outset?
It's actually, I had the chance to see a few snippets from when I went to do some ADR for Dave, and it's cleverly put together. You do see what happens, and then the detective's putting it together, but it's the way in which it keeps using flashbacks and at different points of the film, how it keeps being thrown in, and you start to piece together actually what's happening, and then obviously it's down to the detectives
to finally bring it all together.
Yeah.
Now, I have been involved in some spoilers because I have about 3 lines in the film with a radio report, which may or may not get included. So
they're included.
They're included. So I kind of know what happens at the end, and I'm having to remember that we can't talk about that. But the whole atmosphere of this, how would you describe the way it's going to look on screen?
Dark, gritty, intense. There are no other words to describe it. We've really gone to town trying to bring together the sort of things that make really gritty British drama so impactful. I think we've done a really good job with it, right across the board, from the lighting we've used to the way we shot scenes to the actors we've chosen to the music. it all adds and complements, and it builds to something that's, when you all see it, you're going to really love it. Trust me.
But this is something that is going to hit the full festival scene, isn't it? So this is going to be out there with people watching this, and they're not necessarily going to know the Midlands either. So this is going to be putting the Midlands on the map in a different way to what we've often seen. Maybe since investigative days. Are we looking back to Sorrest Boone for something like that? I mean, that was a little bit more fun, wasn't it?
That was fun, though. That was. Elphick was great in that. Loved it.
It's going to be good to see the Midlands on screen, on the big screen in this case, because it will be doing, as I say, a lot of festivals, and there'll be a lot of people seeing it in cinemas. And when that story's told, what do you think is going to surprise them? And maybe I'll get that from each of you to see how you feel about it.
Skip over to somebody else.
Okay, we'll start with Greg. What do you reckon?
Well, the biggest surprise, I suppose, is, well, for me, perhaps not the audience. I'm used to performing on stage and starting a show at the beginning, getting through the middle, and then completing at the end. Mm-hmm. The way this is filmed, and it's I've been involved with film before, but this was kind of difficult to capture the character and the character's feelings, because you start in the middle, you move back to the beginning, and then you go to the end, and then perhaps back to the middle again. So I think the shock for me is I'm excited to see how it all pans out from start to finish. And knowing what I know about the film, I think it's going to be great for the audience to watch, and I think they're going to enjoy it as much as I know I'm going to enjoy it.
And Brett is co-writer on this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not... I wouldn't say there's much shock for me, because I know exactly what happens, but I think from a writer's perspective, actually, because I've not really been able to see much because of being in the film as well, Dave wants to keep it a secret from me how the final product looks.
And there's a texture of the film.
Yeah, so actually seeing how everybody's pieced their scenes together and watching all the other actors, that'll be very nice for me. And I think the shock for the audience is probably just the context of how relevant some of the themes in the film are to the modern society, and some of the scenes and the way that they're shot, and I can't really say too much about that, but the way that they're shot and what happens in these particular scenes, I think they're quite hard hitting and very raw, emotional.
There's no holds barred in this, is there?
Oh no, it's very passionate. I think some of the actors, we've talked about our experiences on set and just the way that they speak and the little bits that I have seen. It's just so raw, and I can't wait for people to see it, because I think that in itself, I mean, we speak about our experiences and we're all like, oh yeah, do you remember when this happened? And you start to remember how you felt in the moment and trying to capture. I think the audience is watching us doing what we've really enjoyed and what we've actually reminisced about over the last few years of filming it will be.
And the difference in time between when it was produced and when the final article is out there, that's going to be interesting. Is that got a surprise for you, the time it's taken to pull this together?
It's actually been relatively short in the grand scheme of things. We rolled into it quite quickly. The main shoot was very fast, the way we did it. Pickups, etc. It's the back end, the post-production, that's the longest, slowest part of the process. I mean, currently you've got all the editing that goes on, you've got all the colour grading, you've got the audio, including, as Brett mentioned earlier, additional dialogue recording, because at times you don't capture what you want in the moment. You've got the score, which is phenomenal. I'm lucky enough that I've seen the film and I've heard the score, and I sunk the score up with the movie a couple of weeks back and just killed all the dialogue and just watched it with the score, and it's just extraordinary the way it just hits perfectly.
Okay, so where do we go to find out more in the run-up to the release of this?
The usual culprits, social media, Sustain Movie on Facebook. You can stalk any of us on there as well. You'll find it dead easy. Also, just Google it.
It's going to be there, but it'll pop up.
Oh, yeah.
And keep looking for that release date. Make sure you're following on Twitter and the like, and find out more about a brilliantly produced Midlands movie with true grit and the chance to see a lot of people really showing their skills that they have in our area.
Absolutely.
Well, absolutely. Get along there. Enjoy it. It is Sustain, coming to a cinema near you very soon.
When your legs don't work like they used to before, and I can't sweep you off of your feet, will your mouth still remember the taste of my love? Will your eyes still smile from your cheeks? And darling, I will be loving you still fall as hard at 23. I'm thinking about how people fall in love in mysterious ways. Maybe just the touch of a hand. Well, me, I fall in love with you every single day, and I just wanna tell you I am. So baby, now take me to your loving arms, kiss me under the lights of 1,000 stars, place your head on my beating heart. I'm thinking out loud, maybe we found love right where we are. When my hands
In their 20th anniversary year, WYMT are celebrating. They have their show at the arena as ever. And to tell me more, I'm joined now by Ben Cole. Hello.
Hi, you're right.
All good here, and you've got a great time ahead of you, so I trust you're feeling fine too.
Yes, I am relieved now that we've actually got a show. That's always the tricky bit.
Okay, so you've got something licensed, that's what counts, that's the first part. Then you've got to get auditions, and then you've got a 2-week intensive setup to get this show on stage.
Yeah, that's always the way we work. So we're actually meeting for auditions in a couple of weeks, July the 7th, and then we have 2 weeks intensive rehearsals at the end of August before we move into the arena down the road for a week's run there.
What age group are we starting with here?
We do have some juniors within the company as well, but obviously for the show we've got at the moment, it's probably not the most appropriate one, so we're looking for what we can do to accommodate them later on in the year. So yeah, we're saying kind of 13 to 18 for this one, so our teenagers.
It's Rock of Ages, but it is the schools edition.
It is the schools edition, yeah, which is just slightly toned down, and more importantly, I think actually some of the vocal work actually made to suit teen voices, which I think is important when you're training young people as well.
But a big show, and really a chance to let yourselves go and have a good time.
Yeah, very different genre for our kids as well, and we always try and pick something that gives them a new skill base, and I think actually the style of music for this one, the characterisation that's required for it, the fact that a lot of the music was from way before their time, but it's a good show, it's a send-up, and I've had a lot of fun when I've done it before with other companies. So.
Some of the younger kids, it could be before their parents' time as well.
Yes,
It could be
definitely.
grandparents who remember
mine, I don't remember them all, but I love the music.
Okay,
in the show.
we'll believe it. But I mean, it is a great show. They are great songs, and it is a good story, and it tells a tale which it's good. Is it going to triumph over evil? All of that, and I think that is nice, and it's again it gets the whole impression of the show across quite quickly, and allows them to tell a tale, which is something they need to learn how to do.
Yeah, definitely, and I think we pride ourselves on giving them that professional experience, the intensive experience. We've got former members who are actually in the West End coming back to work with the kids this year as well. So it's all about that development, that long-term development as well, and in terms of what we can do for the kids. So yeah.
What goes on behind the scenes to get to this point? Because there must be the tens of you running around to get this thing set up.
Yeah, we are. We're a very small team. A lot of people who've worked either professionally in the arts or in education, so a lot of local education team as well, with, again, support from the music school and their team there. Lots of frantic emailing all through the year, group chats, Facebook group chats going at all hours of the night going, what are we going to do? And yeah, a lot of pre-planning, because obviously once we're there for the 2 weeks, we've got to concentrate on getting that show on the road. Everything else has to be great. The team at the arena are great. They're ex-members. They've come through the company as well that are there, so they know exactly how we work. And it all just gels, really. There's a bit of an ongoing joke that once you come into WYMT, you can't escape from it, and you always get pulled back in.
You're there for life, whatever happens.
Definitely.
Well, that just helps the shows look even more amazing. Where can we find you online, and how do people get along for the auditions?
Best way to find us is to follow our Facebook page. It's at WYMT UK. All the information goes on there, and then once you've had a successful audition with the company, you get invited into a private group. So we just found that's the quickest and easiest way to communicate in this day and age with people as well.
But if they want to come along, so the date again is?
It's the 7th of July, and it's at the music school, 10 a.m. Just prepare a bit of a musical theatre song for your company audition, and then the rest is all workshopped.
And do they need to book a place to turn up?
No, turn up, come along, we see everybody, and then as we deal with all the membership stuff after the auditions. So.
And how does the nomenclature work on Facebook? What are we looking for?
So it's it's our little logo. It's WYMT UK. If they search that, they'll find the page.
Simple as that. Check it all out. Get your details in. Yep. So make sure if your kids are in that age group, or if you're in that age group yourself and you want to get involved, WYMT could be for you. Check it all out. Rock of Ages, their show this year. Find them on Facebook. And Ben, thanks for having a chat with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Give me your attention, baby. I gotta tell you, lost something about yourself. You're wonderful, flawless, so you're a sexy lady. But you walk around here like you wanna be someone else. Oh, I know that you don't know it, but you're fine, so fine, fine, so fine. Oh, girl, I'm gonna show you when you're mine, oh mine, mine, oh mine. Treasure, that is what you are. You're my golden star. You know you can make my wish come true if you let me treasure you. If you let me treasure you. Oh, pretty girl, pretty girl, pretty girl, you should be smiling.
West End Picnic takes you behind the scenes of many a show across the West End and beyond. The man behind all that is Aeron James, who's with me now. Hello.
Hi.
So, I mean, what started you off in your world of domination and the world, as far as looking at what goes on in the theatre?
It's actually quite kind of odd. It kind of first started just as me talking about life and who I am, and that's kind of how it started, because I was training to be a performer, and then when you do a degree like that, especially a vocals degree, then you kind of have to sit and go through branding and social media and look at how do you use it. And around that time, I'd realised that people were engaging to what I was talking about, and then
Because you became a social influencer to start off with, and
Yeah.
that was ongoing now. So
Yeah.
you're used to finding yourself talking about things, whether it be on Instagram, Twitter, and beyond. And you let people know what you think of shows you've been to,
Yeah.
and this kind of extended into West End Picnic, which is if something more than that. It's different to that. It's not just reviews, is it? There's
Oh,
more
yeah.
about things behind the scenes too.
yeah, it's all about kind of creating a community for the theatre industry, because on Broadway they've always seemed to be like 10 years ahead. So when I was growing up, Broadway seemed to do backstage vlogs or like interactive elements, like to get you involved with the community, whereas in the West End there wasn't really that. And so now I've tried to help bring back to the forefront, because we've got new shows like Six and everybody's talking about Jamie, which has these really young, like teenage audiences mad about theatre. And so I wanted to create kind of like templates where people could say what shows have they just seen, like share onto their social media, share on Instagram.
But
post
then
all the
linking
news.
back to the community
Yeah.
as well, though. So again,
Oh, yeah.
they see beyond their group of friends. It goes somewhere bigger than that.
Well, yeah, because I think a lot of people who love theatre in school are normally the outcasts, or they're not the popular kids. They're the people that go online to try and find their club, find their people. And a lot of people, I've seen it around with the Jamie community and the Six community, they're all online on Twitter, on Instagram, etc. These massive groups, and it kind of feels cool to be one of the people that is creating stuff for them, and to make sure that theatre thrives, and that we don't lose that. And the fact that theatre's kind of becoming cool, like I want to be one of those people that make sure that this is a mainstream thing, this keeps growing.
There's probably been theatre for every generation, and it may vary as to whether it's musicals that are on vogue at the moment, or whether it's plays, certain pieces that are actually talking to people, and everyone gets something from it in a different way. So I mean, there's a big cross section, and that can be said at the West End at the moment, and the touring circuit across the UK into the regional theatres too.
Oh yeah, massively. Like if you look at the Addams Family, because Carrie Hope Fletcher kind of brought in this whole world. I'd say she was kind of one of the pioneers of the UK, having a younger fan base for theatre, where she vlogged what she was doing when she was in Les Mis and Heathers and Addams Family, and then suddenly loads of people were like, oh my gosh, like I'm watching it online and I really want to see it now. I find theatre cool.
It's difficult with Carrie to work out which came first from this point of view, because you don't know unless you were there at the beginning. And she's got huge numbers of followers across the socials, and it's what she does as part of that, and her honesty in that, and that thing comes across in what you're doing as well. You're telling your life story,
And people very often share too much on Facebook when Facebook really feels like it's a platform for pictures of meals. Instagram's kind of past that now, and Instagram's turned the way that's developed since it's been under the Facebook umbrella has changed with the way the stories work, with lives and things on there. And I mean, I know you use that quite a bit yourself when you're telling parts of your life.
Yeah, I think it has become that world of people now have careers that are on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, but also I think people forget that they only have these careers because people invested in their lives and their personalities, etc. Like, you do want to know what's the greatest place to go for this type of food, and I think as well people invest their time and their years with people, and they feel like they've got a friend that isn't in their community, like that they don't see every day, that when they're watching them they can kind of feel like they're part of their lives, and when they comment and if somebody comments back, etc. It's weird until I think you experience it from the creator point of view. You don't realise just how much it's really nice to like get a message to say, okay, like what I'm creating actually means something to someone and it's helping someone, especially for me with like LGBT plus stuff. I've had younger like teenagers, etc., say that watching my stuff has helped them going through their coming out process, etc., and that's mental for me to know that actually me talking about my like life has just kind of helped people feel okay with who they are. So yeah,
so lots of all that appearing online. And so the West End Picnic, that's been going in great bounds, in increasing its numbers of clicks and views and the actual people who follow it. But even you've got your mother involved in Instagram as well.
I say that's more of a recent thing. I think most like people, maybe my age, their parents have, if they've kind of grown through and kind of are growing in the socials, it's actually quite interesting how many families are involved in it. Like, and one was just like, my parents are how I love theatre anyhow, so my parents have been to like every single show with me. They have like really deep views of theatre and can just talk about it just as well as I can, and then so it's always cool to take mum along, and mum wants to, and it's nice that mum and dad want to be engaged in this
It
world.
does mean that they're looking at what you're doing on Instagram as well, so do you think that tailors what you're saying, or are you just letting it out there anyway?
I mean, I've always been like a Disney boy, so like anything online for me, I think ages before my parents like were, and I kind of like that because I live in London and they live here, so it's nice that they can see everything I'm going up to, and I don't always have to message to say everything I'm up to because they can physically see it, which is actually kind of nice. But then also, I've just always like, since I was 18 and starting to grow like on socials, I've always been about like making sure that I kind of want to be there as like an LGBT plus person for young teenagers to be able to watch and look up to and be like, okay, it's not like he's gay, but he's not what I've been told like a gay guy is like, and the fact that I've always been like a Disney kid and I've always been kind of that PG-13 kind of boy, so like I've never been that wilder person anyhow, so it's kind of nice to kind of
so to be there, be normal, and be able to share that with other people.
Yeah.
And there's no judging the people who follow you. 5 years of making friends, followers, and family all sitting together in one place, and you've enjoyed that, and you'll enjoy it continuing to go forward. And as a social media influencer, you get to do some fun things off the back of it as well, and people get to share that with you too.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. I think whenever I go to something or invited to anything, I'm always remembering that, okay, it's important to get across to like get enough content for people to watch, because that's partly why I'm there, is to get content to show people how awesome something is, or for me to go in and be like, okay, will people like this? Should they spend their money on it, etc. And it's kind of nice as well that I don't then feel really like I don't feel like I'm taking the mick going to all this stuff. I don't feel
you put the work in. It makes every social event a work event, but you're enjoying the work, so it doesn't really feel like work.
Yeah, it's kind of I'm doing it because I love it, and it's nice to then see how it makes other people happy. And yeah, it does mean that everything that you're at, it's networking, or it's that, okay, I need to get a photo of this, I need to do this because that's kind of a requirement, etc. But at the same time, like, I actually really like making that, so it's kind of fine.
So where can we find you on all the socials? And this might be a very long list. We'll see how this goes.
So anything for me personally is Aeron James UK, so AERON James UK, and then West End Picnic on Instagram and Twitter as well, so West End Picnic.
All as one word.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Oh, Aeron, great having a chat with you. I'll still be following you on Facebook, Twitter, and the rest. And have a great time seeing shows across the UK and sharing your time in London.
Thank you.
Saying I love you is not the words I want to hear from you. It's not that I want you not to say, but if you only knew how easy it would be to show me how you feel. More than words is all you have to do to make it real. Then you wouldn't have to say that you love me, 'cause I'd already know. What would you do if my heart was torn in two? More than words to show you feel that your love for me is real. What would you say if I took those words away? Then you couldn't make things new just by saying I love you. More than Now that I've tried to talk to you and make you understand, all you have to do is close your eyes and just reach out your hands and touch me. Hold me close, don't ever let me go. More than words is all I ever needed you to show. Then you wouldn't have to say that you love me, 'cause I'd already know. What would you do if my heart was torn in two? More than words to show you feel that your love for me is real. What would you say if I took those words away? Then you couldn't make things new just by saying I love you. More than words. More than words. more than
Helen Millward is a clairvoyant medium, and she's with me now to have a bit of a chat about some of the experiences that she brings to those who rely on your words. Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you, Jason.
Well, good to meet you, and I think we've spoken once before, and I've seen you doing some work online. So tell us a bit about your work as a clairvoyant.
What I tend to do, I bring spirit to the people that are needy, and I do clairvoyance as well. So it's a two-way thing where I'm talking to people in spirit world, bringing them through, and they help me to guide people, to give them their future. So they sort of tell me how they are, who they are, the way they are with things, and then they guide people that need that little bit of help spiritually and for the future.
Now, often you'll find people who are sceptical of this. As my background, I tend to be. But there is something there which obviously helps these people because they keep coming back to you. And I've talked to people who've worked with you who have been very surprised when you've told them things which have actually come to pass in their life.
That's right. And sometimes it surprises me how accurate spirit actually are for people, because I've always believed in the spirit world. I've always believed in everything that they've always given me for everybody that comes to me for guidance, either for the future or just to talk to someone that's passed over. And it amazes me how accurate and precise they are, and I'm just really lucky that I've got that connection with the spirit world in that way.
And is this something that you realised was happening to you from a very early age?
To me, it's just normal. It's natural, because I've seen spirits since I was 2 years old, and I talked to them all the time. And then as I got a little bit older, because my nan's an Irish gypsy, and she sort of coached me into doing that sort of thing and taking it further. And she gave me a pack of normal playing cards, and from the age of 5, I was reading my mum's friends and everybody.
And this must be quite, a little bit of a strange experience for somebody who, of that tender an age, feeling that there's something going on around them in this way. And it could sometimes be passed off as picking up on people's emotions and knowing what they want to hear. I suppose at that age you're probably less receptive to something like that.
It never worked that way for me. When I was little and I used to pick up the cards, I'd see somebody standing in the back of someone. So in the spirit world, I would actually see the person standing behind them. And later on, I used to start doing a little bit of thing with the mystic tarot, and the cards actually used to move like a TV. So it was like I was looking at a card that would be moving like a TV, and they would show me certain things connected with that person.
So you see something which isn't necessarily there in the plane that we are there, so the person you're talking to won't see this, but you see this through an energy that's coming from them?
Yeah. And then the spirit person that stands behind them tells me exactly what to say. I don't interpret it. I don't try and change it. I just repeat what they tell me to repeat. A lot of mediums interpret, but I don't. I just say it as I see it and hear it.
And this is something that there is a lot of out there in this world. We're a scientific age. You wouldn't necessarily expect many people to believe in the way in which we probably did in times gone by, when there was a lot more that was unknown to people, so they didn't understand. So we still don't understand what happens between life, death, and that transition. And you feel that you are getting these messages through from someone that's passed on, and they are matching up with the life experiences of those who are living.
Well, sometimes they will tell me future that even the person that's standing in front of me won't know. And some of it will sound so unbelievably unreal that you'll be like, no way, that won't happen. And then it actually does happen, and it happens exactly how I say it. But I like people to record my readings, so they've got proof that it's there. I'm not frightened for someone to record me.
And so they don't end up with basically developed memory from what actually happened when that wasn't the case.
Yeah, and it's like with the spirit world, because we spoke, and I do Facebook Live spirit messages for free every Sunday or Monday evening. And I've done that since 2015. I was one of the first to do that live, and since then other mediums have done it. But I like to just try and connect in with the spirit world when I do that live. I will do little mini readings, but I like the spirit world because you can't make that up. Because when you're connecting in with someone that's in the spirit, they show me what they look like, how their hair was, what colour their eyes are, what shirt they're wearing that were buried in, how their ailments affected their body. They normally tell me how they passed over. They tell me who they are or who they're connected to. They give me their names or people's names that are connected, because you can't always get a physical name from the person, but they'll give you enough information for you to know exactly who you're talking to.
And if you don't know a name, I mean, if someone were to be hugely sceptical, you could be looking at memorialised Facebook pages, but that's not the case. That's not how you work it, is it?
No, because how I do it, my daughter actually takes all of my bookings, so I never see anybody on Facebook or anything, and I don't take names. I just take phone numbers, and you book them in. My daughter books them in as phone numbers, so I never know who's actually coming through the door. So it's not like I could actually look up on 7,000 or 8,000 people, because you never know who you're going to read. Do you know what I mean? So it's not even like a memory thing, because I have no memory. I suffer from fibro, so I don't have any memory at all. And I could see someone and I wouldn't remember them the day after.
Yeah.
I know that sounds really awful, but it's just, that's the way it is with me.
And so this gift, whatever it is, I mean, that could be what affects your memory. It could be the way your mind's wired that causes that.
Yeah.
But I mean, so you do charge for this. This is something that you do for a living, and you say you do offer these free readings. So if somebody does want to find out more from you, they can find you on Facebook. Then take it from there and see what happens next.
Yeah, I do. With my readings, when I do the Facebook, it's normally about spirit or little mini readings. But yes, I have done these readings for a very long time. I've been doing them for over 40 years. Yeah. And I used to be at the Station Hotel. I was a resident medium at the Station Hotel in Dudley for almost 8 years. And then I'd done a lot of other places, like the Thistle Hotel in, I think that's Cheltenham. I go to regular little pubs as well. I've done the Hop House. The Mount Hotel I've done there as well. I think that's in Telford, isn't it?
There's the Mount in Wolverhampton, so it's just out the way. So.
And that one.
Yeah.
I've done quite a few, and I used to do all the circuits with a gentleman called Dennis and his wife called Jill, and we did that for about 10, 15 years. But I enjoy my job.
Yeah, and it's you're bringing something to somebody who is looking for something, and sometimes that can make them be more receptive to what they're hearing, but you know what you're telling them.
Yeah, it's like I don't separate the good from the bad. Unfortunately, I do say everything they tell me to. If I can give you for instance, around about 2008, I read a lovely lady. She knows I'm allowed to mention her. We'll just call her Jackie, but I mention her, but she knows I'm allowed. And she came to me, and this was over 11 years ago. Well, it's even, 11 years ago. And I read her, and she laughed at me, and I said to her, "Your husband is leaving you." And I said, "But I don't know why he's leaving you. Spirit are telling me that he's leaving you and he's never coming back, and you must tell him you love him, and over the next 6 weeks you've got to tell him you love him, because he's leaving you, and I don't know why he's leaving you, but he's not taking any bags with him." And I said, "And I don't understand why they're telling me that." And she laughed at me. And it was in a house party where they were all paying for readings. She went downstairs and she had a few words and laughed about it. 6 weeks later, it was a big hoo-ha. And it was actually in the newspapers. Her partner died in a factory near Tipton. And they'd actually been, excuse the expression, taking the copper piping.
Right.
and they'd filled it with carbon monoxide to stop thieves or people taking them, and he actually died in the factory, him and a friend. And bless Jackie, she actually came up to me where I was working at the time, where I was doing my readings from, up above Tanning Exposure in Dudley, and she apologised to me, and she brought all her friends, and I felt really poorly when she did tell me what had actually happened, because I didn't understand what they were saying to me. I was just repeating. So it was a shock, really, but it's amazing what spirits say. I know I shouldn't be saying it in that way, but it's just amazing what they do give you.
And this is this experience that happens to you. You
Quite
can't really
regularly.
explain it, but it is there.
Yeah.
And as you say, something that you share each Sunday and Monday on your Facebook page. If you want to look out for Helen Clairvoyant Millward on Facebook, and you can see more of what you do there and find out more your story and have a chat with you and see what's going on.
It's on the actual page. It's Helen's Angels of Tranquility.
So look out for that one.
Yeah.
Search for Helen's Angels of Tranquility, and you can see everything that goes on there. Well, Helen, lovely to speak to you.
Thank you very much for having me, Jason.
And really interesting to find out the story behind what you do, and keep talking to people and working with them as you see.
Thank you, I will do. Thank you very much for having me. Bless you all.
That's your lot for this week. Thank you so much for joining us back with episode 523 next week. I'll see you then. Ta-ra for now.
Goodbye from the milk bar. 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 Yeah. Goodbye from the milk bar. Yeah.